International trade and commerce. Today we are going to discuss about India and ASEAN as a trading bloc. ASEAN was established through Bangkok Declaration in 1967 by 5 founding members, namely Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, Singapore and Thailand, with its headquarters at Jakarta. Later, Brunei joined in 1984, the Vietnam in 1995, Laos and Myanmar together in 1997, and finally Cambodia in 1999. As of today, ASEAN has 10 member countries. Its earlier incarnation, Association of Southeast Asia, that is ASA, comprising only 3 countries, namely Malaysia, the Philippines and Thailand. Objective of ASEAN are threefold. First, to accelerate economic growth. Peace and security is the second one, and third is social progress and cultural development in the Southeast Asian nation by joint initiative in the spirit of partnership and equality. ASEAN Way. ASEAN follows the principle of ASEAN Way, which essentially is based on what is called Mashawara and Mufakat. Mashawara and Mufakat, which means deliberation and consensus, which are traditional decision making rule in Indonesia, which has often been observed in village meetings. This approach is employed even in the modernized and democratized Indonesia, not only in rural assembly but also in the parliament at national level. This consensus way of decision making provides an institutional basis for democratic stability by giving every player, whether big or small, an equal opportunity to express his or her interests. On the other hand, the system of Mashawara and Mufakat decreases political inefficiency in the sense that it takes a too long period to deliberate drafted laws. This is to provide an effective, efficient and transparent process for consultation and settlement of disputes. Implicit in it lies resolve that they will settle dispute by consultation and agreement, will not use force or confrontation, will not interfere in the internal matters of others, will respect each other's independence. Their existence is free from interference, subversion or coercion. Initially, ASEAN had a smooth sailing, but later on there was a flexing of muscle in terms of economic powers. It was realized that Thailand, Philippines, Malaysia will have bilateral issues. Singapore was a rising economy. For instance, there are water disputes between Malaysia and Singapore. It is very important that all of them are taken together and mutual difference must be resolved bilaterally. With this in view, it was decided that ASEAN member will sort out and settle the disputes through the Treaty of Amity and Cooperation, which is called TAC. India also signed TAC in 2003. TAC recognized that every state has right to lead its national existence, free from subversion, external interference or coercion. TAC seeks that it will not interfere in the internal matter of one another, will not use threat or force, will settle disputes and differences by peaceful means, will effectively cooperate among themselves, will respect each other's independence, sovereignty, equality, territorial and national integrity. In 1994, ASEAN Regional Forum ARF was set up. In 1996, India became a member. In 1997, ASEAN Plus 3 was formed to increase regional cooperation. This included 3 formidable Asian economic powers, namely China, Japan and South Korea, although they are not members of ASEAN as such. A currency swap agreement, which is popularly known as Chiang Mai Initiative (CMI), was entered among ASEAN Plus 3 countries in May 2000. CMI is the first regional currency swap agreement launched by them at an annual meeting of the Asian Development Bank to address the short-term liquidity crunch in the region and to supplement the existing international financial arrangements. The idea was that the member countries should not be dependent upon US dollar only. One can also have current trade amongst one another's currency. In the wake of global financial crisis GFC, CMI was multilateralized in March 2010 to create a Chiang Mai Initiative Multilateralism, that is CMIM, a single pooled reserve scheme. Chiang Mai Initiative Multilateralism CMIM is a multilateral currency swap arrangement between ASEAN plus 3 members. This was based on the same principle as of the World Bank, but of course its ambit was restricted to those 13 countries. India cannot be ignored as India is a regional power because of its large economy, very large market. In 1990, India started engaging with ASEAN as a part of Look East policy, which is now transformed into Act East policy. In 1992, India became a sectoral dialogue partner of ASEAN since India had just opened up its economy in 1991. This was reflected in its LPG budget of 1991. By LPG, I mean liberalization, privatization, and globalization. ASEAN was convinced that India is following their own model and Asia was on the course of becoming a free market economy. This also coincided with the downfall or breakup of USSR. In 1996, India became a full dialogue partner of ASEAN. In 2002, India started attending annual summits of ASEAN. In 2003, India signed what is called the Treaty of Amity and Cooperation (TAC) in Southeast Asia. By this time, India was grappling with the terrorism to very high extent and signed counter-terrorism declaration with ASEAN. In 2009, a free trade area establishment and India signed FTA with the whole ASEAN, though India had bilateral arrangement with some individual ASEAN countries. In 2010, India's FTA with the ASEAN as a whole was made effective from January 2010. In 2012, India becomes a strategic partner of ASEAN on its 20th anniversary of joining ASEAN, which was marked by holding commemorate summit. In other words, India is an important strategic partner of ASEAN, though not exactly a member of ASEAN. The ASEAN was becoming a rising force with 27 member states of ASEAN in ASEAN Regional Forum, that is ARF. Some of them are core members, some others are full dialogue members, and yet some others are sectoral dialogue members. In 2015, ASEAN was expanded to form a community of opportunity under 3 community pillars. First is ASEAN Political Security Community, second is ASEAN Economic Community, and third is ASEAN Socio-Cultural Community. The main objective of formation of these 3 communities included promoting peace and stability in the region, active collaboration and mutual assistance in the subjects of common interest, training and research in the educational, administrative, technical and professional domains, cooperation for a better usage of agriculture and industry trade expansion, communication and transportation facility, and improving living standards, promoting Southeast Asian studies, expanding more avenues for further cooperation. To address regional security challenge, confidence building measures are undertaken as envisaged in ARF ASEAN Regional Forum Vision 2020. This is implemented by Hanoi Plan of Action (POA) involving concrete and doable action in the fields of disaster relief, maritime security, non-proliferation and disarmament, counter-terrorism and peacekeeping. ARF and India. India co-chaired ARF Inter-Sessional Support Group, organized several seminars, workshops and training programs for ARF members. But there is a problem. What is that? There has been a huge trade deficit between India and the ASEAN countries. What is important? The trade deficit has been increasing significantly ever since India joined the ASEAN in 2010. This is a cause of concern for India. India became a sectoral dialogue partner of ASEAN in 1992, saw its trade with ASEAN increase relative to its trade with the rest of the world. Between 1993 and 2003, ASEAN-India bilateral trade grew at an annual rate of 11.2% from $2.9 billion in 1993, $12.1 billion in 2003. Hurdles in India's strategy. India recently decided not to join the regional flagship free trade agreement, that is RCEP. By doing so, India has willingly taken the risk of potentially complicating the country's future engagement in the region. India implicitly but crystal clearly decided that no cost is high enough when it comes to the national sovereignty. ASEAN has always been keen on diversified portfolio of partners so that its member states can leverage their centrality in their dealings with major powers and maintain their strategic autonomy. While China's clout has been increasing in the region, ASEAN member states have tried to keep the US engaged in the region as well, with the US administration giving mixed signal about Washington's commitment towards the region. ASEAN has been looking at India with a renewed sense of anticipation. ASEAN Sojourn 2019 will be remembered for India's bold decision of finally rejecting the RCEP mega trade deal, and we would discuss contours and tangents of this in the next session.